kidding. That's exactly what they are. They're space monkeys or something.
So it's like the what is it? The demon attack of the Genesis.
Yeah, where you glue airplane wings
Right.
onto a dinosaur and spray
Yes.
paint it silver. That's still the best cover ever,
It
by
is.
the
I still
way.
remember the Sega Genesis cover. Didn't it have like the thing that said it was like 4 megs or something
8
like
megabit.
that? 8
It was
megs,
it was one of the
First
early
8 meg game.
full
Like, oh my
megabyte.
fucking god! Wow.
Holy shit!
Well, no,
Yeah.
that was a serious killer app for Genesis.
Yeah,
a
it
friend
was.
of mine
Yeah.
bought a Genesis really early, and I borrowed
Just
it
for
from
Strider.
him. And
Yeah.
I can
well, no,
believe
he
that.
bought it just because he owned a Master System. It was like,
Mm.
yeah, Sega's awesome. So
All
I
of a sudden.
borrowed his Genesis and Strider, and was like, oh, I wish my NES could do
I
this
know,
because
right?
this is sure better
It
than
was
the
a
NES
gorgeous
version.
game.
Yes,
like,
it
with
was.
Genesis. And that was during the era where Sega was doing a lot of the ports for Capcom, wasn't it? Like all those early Sega Capcom
I think,
games were
I think there was
Sega.
some spillover from the Master System era where Sega was doing internal development on
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, but I just remember like even wasn't Ghouls and Ghosts like wasn't that programmed by Sega
Oh,
for
it might have
Capcom?
been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might have been.
Yeah,
That
because
was
it
strange.
wasn't until Street Fighter 2 that Capcom actually was making Sega Genesis games. I
They were
believe.
like, oh, fine, we'll make video
Yeah,
games. for
something
your
like that.
system.
Who was the outfit
Yeah.
that did the computer games? I can't remember. It was
US
done under.
Gold.
Well, it was done under US Gold, and there was this developer that started with a T. It wasn't Troika. It was some
Tengen
other-
or something? No.
No. But anyway, they were
Toad
responsible for pretty
Yeah.
much anything that was shit.
Yeah.
And they even made a port of their crappy Amiga Commodore original Strider for the Master System, which was even
Ugh.
more degraded
Right.
from what it was in the first place. So
Anyway, a few years after that, Capcom dredged up Strider for one of the Marvel vs. Capcom games.
yep, yeah,
And
they
he
threw him
became
in
incredibly popular. People were like, he's cool. He's
There's
a
an
ninja
awesome
with a
space
scarf,
ninja.
and he
Yeah.
has an
Yeah.
awome sword. So
That's and is-
Capcom leveraged that to create Strider 2, and it
Yeah.
wasn't that
That
great.
was 99. Actually, it wasn't that bad either. It was actually pretty cool. And they had
Go
an
back-
arcade
go back and
release
replay
also.
it. Go back and replay
It's
it.
short, and
That's not the problem with it.
what's your problem with it?
So the problem with Strider 2 is that I replayed it really recently, so this is really
I
fresh in my
haven't,
mind.
but
Okay, first of all, part of the appeal of Strider is that it's all seamless. Like,
Right.
aside from the level breaks, it's seamless.
oh, this
Strider
one you can
2
select stages.
Well, no. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about within the levels. Once you get into
Mhm.
a level, it's start to finish just a nonstop action ride. Strider 2 is not like that. Strider 2 is like these little broken up chunks. Like you play and then you fight enemies
can
and you
see
get to a
that.
point where the screen stops. You have to kill a bunch of enemies and then it goes choo, 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 choo,
And then
and
there's
fades
another
out.
one.
Yeah, there's a lot of loading time. I mean,
Right.
Yeah, I
it-
remember that.
That's
yeah.
true.
The
Well,
arcade,
it had the
the
3D
arcade
backgrounds
game
and
was
shit,
built
so-
for.
Oh, I
I
can't
can't
remember
remember
what
the name of
chipset
the
was. It's
hardware,
almost
but
the
it
same
was-
as the PlayStation.
It was the PlayStation with like
Yeah.
extra RAM.
Yeah, so that's why it
And
had the crazy load times.
So
and-
yeah, it had that limitation built
Ah.
in.
So that shit worked for like Ridge Racer.
But
and
the
stuff
other
like that,
problem
but maybe not
is-
Strider.
Yeah.
The other problem is that your sword suddenly is not very powerful,
Mhm.
and you spend most of your time in Strider 2 just wailing on things, hitting them to make them explode. Like, the mooks blow up pretty easily,
Yeah.
but there's a lot more of them, and bosses and stronger characters take a lot more damage to destroy, and it really just kills the
It just
pacing of
slows
the
it
game.
down, and yeah.
I mean, it's cool that Strider Hiryu has so many great moves. He can still like climb on the ceilings, climb up the walls, do all this crazy stuff, but it doesn't have the feel and the
Yeah.
flow of the arcade game, and that's really
No, that's fair. I can
that's
see
really
that.
lacking. And also,
I was
most of the-
mostly just holy shit more Strider.
Right.
So I guess
Yeah, so you got-
because
you
I
got some
played
of
it
that-
but it
shortly
wasn't
after
even
came
really
out.
that much more Strider. Most of the interesting parts of Strider 2 were just carbon copies of
Yeah.
Strider 1. Like,
Fair
oh,
enough.
I can go into zero G while blowing up a gravity core. Oh,
Right.
hey, I'm killing
remember
a
that.
robot snake thing over Hong Kong. which
Giant
is just
robot
like
monkey.
killing a
Wait, they didn't
centipede.
bring him back.
Yeah.
But
They didn't.
Yeah.
But it was kind of lacking inspiration. It was
Yeah.
not as fast paced. It was not
Mhm.
as well paced, and it also lacked just the nonstop sense of invention that the original Strider
Mhm.
had.
Yeah.
Like no moment of Strider is like any other
So
moment
Yeah,
of
if,
see,
Strider.
if you want to
that's-
talk about what
yeah.
your true sequel to Strider is, are we going to bring it up? Can we please? Because it's
What?
awesome.
You
Osman.
talking Osman?
Yes.
Oh, the one
I
that
haven't played
yeah.
Osman yet.
You've not
Yeah.
played Osman?
You knew that. I told you
shit.
that last week.
You did, and I figured you would.
when have I had time?
I don't know. I was replaying it again just this week, and actually, I could totally see that. Even though
It's
what's his
martial
name?
arts Osmond, though. or
It is.
martial
Remind
arts
me of
Strider.
that kicking guys.
Did that only come out in the arcades, or was that?
That was only arcades. As
Yeah.
far as I know, there was
Yeah.
never any kind
Yeah,
of.
because I've never
home
seen it
release of
either,
that.
and
Well,
I've always wanted
I'm all
to.
about emulating
Yeah, I
shit,
know, I
so
know, I know.
whatever.
Do we
but-
still have that MAME system that Ray set up?
I think so.
It's
I
just-
hope
He
so.
put it on
Yeah.
there, so
Oh, really?
you should boot it up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just like Strider, except you're wearing hammer pants and you cut guys in half with kicks instead of a sword.
You have laser toes.
And
plasma toes.
Yes, essentially. Also, your pants change color as you power up, so they start off
that's
blue and then they turn
fantastic.
purple. And
There
Well,
you
you
go.
know, hypercolor was very
Yeah.
in.
It was. It seems very much a '90s sort of game.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think what's his name, Crazy Bastard, who made these
Yusuke?
things, has come out and said is essentially a parody of the kind of games he makes. And
Ah.
you can totally see that in the cutscenes, in that they're
Right.
sort of random and all over the place and weird. I mean,
then- but then you're like-
the opening is like the guy who sets you off to assassinate the slave master, whoever the fuck, is like wearing a bath towel. I mean, you're like in his apartment. He's like, yeah, you have to go kill this guy. All right, and you run off and you kick the shit out of a bunch of robots. But
I need
it's
to
like,
play
well,
this
could you
game.
at least put on clothes
I need to-
first?
yeah.
You know.
And then, of course, there's the other spiritual sequel to Strider, which just came out on PSN and Xbox Live, which is
Moon
You don't know about
Diver?
it? Moon
Is
Diver.
Is that
I
what it
haven't
is?
played
Yeah.
this.
it's
Yeah.
Please
it's
tell me.
I
basically
don't think very many people have played this yet.
not yet, and they should because it's pretty much Strider but with 4 players simultaneously.
You are shitting me.
Nope.
Okay.
So basically, the Atlas game Run Saber won up Strider back in
Mhm.
the day, back on Super NES, by giving you 2-player simultaneous play for Strider,
Yeah.
they're
or a Strider
like-
clone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now they're like, screw you. We're doing twice as many. We're
Yeah.
squaring you. And it came from Square Enix.
You're like,
So
oh,
how
now I
about
need to get
that?
2 more friends.
I
You're
know,
all
I'm
forever
sure- I'm
alone.
sure you'll
face.
find some.
And, yeah.
The only problem is I've been meaning to review this, but I have the PlayStation version, so I can't
Oh,
play on
hilarious.
PSN.
Ah.
Yeah, PSN went offline right about the time that game came
Thus,
out. So.
Capcom being all pissed off about this shit. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
this is a Square Enix game actually.
Oh, is it?
but
okay.
I'm sure Square Enix is pissed off too.
Yeah.
After losing $14 million last year, but that was kind of their own problem.
Well, yeah.
Anyway,
You can't make a 6 million Final Fantasy games and expect them all to be good
well,
and sell.
you know, if they
and-
were good, it would be fine.
You
but
know,
Final
so-
Fantasy 14 isn't.
So one thing
yeah.
though, I played through a bit of Strider last night after I because Jeremy tweeted about that we were doing the show today, and I was like, oh shit, that's right. So I played a little
like
bit.
you
last
haven't played this through 30 times.
night. Oh, I know, but it just like it reminded me so much. I mean, Jeremy was talking about how each kind of sequence had its own sort of like feel to it and everything, but the music too.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
If you listen to the soundtrack, it's
It's amazing.
constantly shifting.
Yeah,
Like,
and
each
it-
sequence
like-
has its own.
Yeah.
yeah, and
theme.
nowadays people talk about like dynamic audio and stuff like that. It wasn't quite that
Not
back then,
nowadays, ever
but-
since the 90s.
but it almost
yeah.
like each room had its own like vibe to it, feel to
Oh,
it,
yeah.
and it was just amazing in that way.
No, once you
like,
started doing
it's
the
sort of-
running down the hill thing, the music would
Mhm.
change. When you walked into a room with the wolves, the music would
It
change.
just
It was,
felt,
yeah.
it felt like it was like a score for, like you said, it's very cinematic.
Yeah,
in
it's
that
extremely
way.
cinematic.
Yeah,
For
Yeah,
an
it was
almost
just
completely
incredible.
action-oriented game, that was pretty cool.
and it's just so different than anything of the time. you
But
know?
I think
Still
that's
is,
also,
honestly.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's also why we haven't really seen a satisfying sequel to the game because it was designed for the arcade.
Right.
Yeah.
Where where you want to play for like 30 minutes and you can finish the game in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And every little bit of it can be unique because it's such a small game. I mean, 30 minutes of content isn't that much. So they put together that much content. Every instance of it can be fun and unique and keep you surprised.
Yeah.
But people don't play games like that anymore.
Right.
People want longer games, and you just can't come up with 12 hours of constant, unique
Mhm.
experiences.
Yeah.
There's just no way to do it. So I think the approach that Moondiver has taken is to have a more Strider-like experience. It reminds me a lot of Strider 2, but with better flow. Like it's
Okay.
not as grindy.
Mm.
But the idea there is that if you get to a boss and you can't beat it, you don't put in another quarter. You go back and you replay the level, and your characters are leveling up as you play, and that's persistent between
That's-
sessions. Kind
that's
of
the
like
way you do it
kind
now.
of like Harmony of Despair, Castlevania.
Yeah.
Like your character starts out pretty weak, and if you're really really good, you can still make it through. But if not, it's just like in the
You gain
arcade
something from
where if
trying
you were
it
really
out.
good at Strider, you could play it on one quarter. But if you weren't, you could pop in another quarter and another quarter and another
Right.
quarter. And
No,
you'd
that's a
eventually get
really good
through.
way to handle it.
So I mean, I feel like it's a
What?
little bit lacking in some respects, just because it's not quite as honest. It's like keep
Yeah.
grinding, you'll get there.
Right.
But
Yeah.
But,
Well,
at
that's
the same
most
time,
games these days, I guess.
Yeah.
I do think it is a good compromise.
Right.
So I'm not going to complain too much. I like what I've played of Moondiver, and I'm looking forward to playing it with other people because I'm sure it's really fun that way.
Yeah.
Anyway, we
Let's-
should probably open up the phone
Yeah,
lines now.
yeah.
So out there, give us a call. Do it. So hopefully some people will call.
Nobody remembers Strider at all.
Yeah.
is what I'm getting from this.
What?
Surely somebody in the Midwest. Oh,
Oh,
there we
boy.
Someone in, I'm going to say Minnesota.
I'm going
No.
Michigan.
Hi, thanks for calling Retronauts. What's up?
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Hey,
Strider, that's what's up. Hi, who
Yeah,
is this?
This is Justin. Y'all ever notice that Mega Man X kind of became the unofficial sequel to Strider?
What, with the
Like,
wall sticking and stuff?
I didn't.
Well, I mean, Zero had his sword, and Mega Man and X was riding around on those like snake things in Octopus or Launch Octopus's stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a stretch. Although Strider's little panther friend did show up as Sigma's, like his dragon, right at the very end.
Yeah, you TV true. Nice.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you'd catch me on that. Yeah, so I don't know that I necessarily agree, but I guess there was some commonality. Yes.
Oh, I guess it just comes from being from the same company, I suppose.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a little cross-pollination from their other games.
Probably.
All right.
So was that it? Oh, I'm getting a note. I'm getting a note. All right.
No.
Yeah, anyway, thanks for calling in. We're going to go to the next call.
Hey, no problem.
Have a good night.
That was
Who's
very
this?
distracting.
Yeah.
Tina wants you to remind people of the number to call. I wish I could remember.
What
I
is
was-
the number to call? Well,
I
apparently
was
people
about to
having no
look that up.
problem with
People
it. But, yeah.
Wait, do we have
Maybe we
to-
should actually answer the phone.
we go ahead and hit
because
it?
They already have that number.
This which one?
Oh,
Call.
yeah.
Hey, thank you for calling Retronauts. Who are you and what do you want?
My name is Joe. I'm Shake Well on OneUp.com and various other places on the internet.
Hey, Joe.
And I want to know, and I'm not watching the live stream, unfortunately, so I don't know if you've already talked about this. But
That's all right.
my first experience with Strider was the NES game.
Oh, yeah. Me too, actually.
And you're still calling because you like it. That's crazy.
I do, and I remember the first time I played the Genesis version, I was kind of slightly thrown off because I was expecting, basically, I was hoping that it would be a version of the NES game that just wasn't a slow down plague mess.
Yeah.
God,
with
please
awful
say you
jumping
weren't.
controls.
Please say you weren't let down by the Genesis one.
No. Once I started actually playing it, I was